back to Millennial Pagan Podcast, the podcast that's discussing issues and hot topics influencing the pagan world from a millennial perspective. We're your hosts, Autumn Wolf.
And Jera Stone. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a little bit.
We had some music, we had some booze.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know about the booze, get on Patreon.
Yeah. We got drunk and we talked about history.
Yes. But to listen to that, of course, you have to be a Patreon supporter.
So please go be a Patreon supporter.
That was a fun show.
It was.
It took we sat there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours recording. We gave Thalok a bit of a
Thalok.
We can't say it. We can't say it right when we're not drunk. But we gave him.
I've only had 2 mimosas today, and I said it fine.
Well, anyway, we really gave him a chore, cutting down about 2 hours to just about 34 minutes altogether.
Yeah, a chore. He was probably laughing the whole time.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the kind of fun that's the kind of fun you're missing out on if you're not a Patreon supporter.
Yes. So we just had a pretty big astrological event that occurred recently.
Was that the full moon, worm moon?
Worm
moon. The big super moon that just happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
It also happened on what day?
Ostara.
Yeah.
The spring equinox.
Yeah.
And it was completely covered by clouds. Here in Arizona, at least.
Yeah, but I was ashamed.
Yeah.
It was sad.
That was it's actually kind of funny. My one of my coworkers, he came into work and he said, I was trying to charge up my crystals, but the clouds weren't having it. And one of my other coworkers like, how do you know when you're done charging crystals? Do they like glow or something? And I just I overheard the conversation. I just turned and was like, dude, don't worry, I know what you're talking about.
Like, how do you charge them up? Do you need to plug them into the moon?
Oh, but yeah, that was a fun little.
Are they warmer?
Do they vibrate?
It's like, no, that's the wrong kind of crystal.
Oh, but yeah. So we don't have a guest this week, as you guys can probably tell.
Well, we haven't introduced them yet. We're not that rude.
Well, wait. We have
exactly.
A guest?
No, I was saying we would be rude.
Oh,
if we,
yeah. Yeah, we don't have a guest. We didn't introduce them because there's nobody here. So we're just kind of taking a little bit of us time.
A little bit of spring cleaning.
Yeah.
A little bit of Ostara talk. Just do that. There a lot of pagan news has occurred, so we can discuss that kind of thing and what's going on there. And it'll be a free-flowing show. Hope you like that. Maybe we're funnier this way.
Maybe. You know, I don't know. We don't know.
Talog's shaking his head like we're the most boring episode ever already. I am miserable.
He's the one that has to listen to it 3 or 4 times before we put it up. So
True.
Thanks for taking that job. He sits there as he gives the big thumbs up with a cheesy grin.
Like, oh yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, so big super worm moon, Ostara. So what isn't a name? The worm moon. The worm moon was named because it was the time when the earthworms were starting to get a little bit more noticeable. Waking up from the frozen ground. The ground's now
a little bit easier to work through.
Yeah, and to do their job of cleaning it up and spitting it back out in a more nutrient-packed way. Mm-hmm. So that's that, and this was the last supermoon.
Yeah, the last supermoon of 2019.
Yep.
Wow.
A supermoon is when the moon is closest to the Earth. It can happen in a new or a full moon, but this is the last time it'll be a full supermoon for us in 2019.
So early in the year, too.
I know. I feel like I always wanted to say that it's kind of cheating to say the first few months it's a supermoon because it's like, well, we haven't had anything else yet in the year.
Yeah.
So it's like, that doesn't count, but I can understand when they can tell the difference of not direction. Oh my God, my brain.
Distance. Yeah.
For the rest of the year, so.
I mean, yeah, I guess that is kind of interesting, but, they have all those big machines out there nowadays that can track that.
You know, in like Houston and places like that.
Yeah.
So that's that moon. I hope you guys used it to the fullest and got you some charged crystals that vibrate and glow.
Mm-hmm.
So Ostara is one of those big Sabbats, right?
Yep.
It's a equinox.
Mm-hmm.
It was the spring equinox for us, fall on the other side of the planet, the downer side.
But the full pretty much the full in between. One of the two in betweens between the day and the night was exactly the same in length. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things I like about it.
When the fairy court moves back to their spring home, and the ancient Irish and a couple of different Celtic beliefs only had winter and summer, so that would have been the beginning of summer, which is why we call it midsummer instead of the actual beginning of summer.
Yeah. Although here in Arizona, it's just the beginning of summer.
Yeah.
It is.
Spring equinox is the beginning of summer.
We were actually out today, and it was already getting warm.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad out there.
I'm in shorts and a tank top. I'm carrying a jacket, but yeah, no.
I actually wore my kilt out today.
Yep.
And it was very, very well appreciated by my body.
Good.
Because it was warm.
It was warm. It was like in the 80s though. So we got like 20 more degrees before hell breaks in and settles down for its valley vacation.
Yeah. That's what we deal with here in Arizona. I don't know about, you guys wherever you guys are listening, but yeah, please send us some cool thoughts, especially during the summer months.
Australian friends, we know you.
Yes.
We feel your pain. You just have deadly animals all over the place.
Yeah, at least here on that, not all the animals are trying to kill you.
Only most.
Yeah.
All the bugs, though.
All the bugs are.
All the bugs. And all the snakes.
Yeah, that's actually something that we did at the Ostara ritual last night.
Oh, do tell, because I didn't get to go.
Right. So we had our Ostara ritual, and it was visited by Shakti.
Who's Shakti?
Shakti is see if I remember from
You didn't listen very well.
Well, there wasn't really too much talk about Shakti. That's the thing. It was just she was there. She was actually an aspect the entire time, the entire night. So I mean, sorry about I'm not that historically accurate with Shakti or knowledgeable about Shakti, but that was actually a really nice visit. But kind of the work that we did was transformational work, which is a great time for, I mean, the springtime is a great time for transformation. Not only are the animals awakening, the flora is awakening, and changing and getting ready for the coming months.
Right.
So it was one of those things where the guided meditation brought us underground into snake bodies.
Oh.
And waking up from the hibernation and shedding our skin. So pretty much shedding the past, shedding everything that was encasing us, making us what we called itchy. So literally slithering out of the ground, finding that need to shed our skin, which in the work that we did, we actually wrote on a very thin slip of paper what we felt we needed help with, we needed to change, we needed to transform. And then we actually walked the labyrinth to the center where there was a fire awaiting us, where we put the old skin in, and we received an egg that had a message in it. And it was pretty much a message of empowerment, pretty much a message that could help you in the journey of the transformation.
Wow.
And then we had a sitting with Shakti, who we actually read our blessing to. And if she had words or any questions for you or any answers for you, she'd give it right then and there. And it was actually, for me, I hadn't, and I'm comfortable discussing this. For the longest time, I never realized that I actually had this fear, and it's been a fear inside the back of my head for a while. And just recently, it's come up more.
Okay.
And I kind of felt like it's something that I needed to let go, but it's, for me, the fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do, a little bit with my anxiety, a little bit with, my logistical side as well,
mm-hmm.
where I need to have things somewhat in control, even though everything seems out of control in my life. I have my plans.
Right.
That's the thing. And me being able to release the fear of the unknown, the fear of not knowing what's coming in the future, or not knowing what a specific path I'm taking is going to take me to, it was very relieving. Because I got the slip of paper that I got said to shed your skin, or to shed your skin, you must grow within. And to me, I read it to Shakti, and she said, grow with the light, grow how you need to, because that is what controls your fears.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we actually spoke our blessing into a big bucket of water, and everybody actually got to take home some blessed water in vials.
Ooh. So
it was very.
That was well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very, very well done, and it was actually one of the first rituals that wasn't headed up by a lot of the normal people who usually head up our rituals.
Reclaiming tends to not have a hierarchy, but our group, because of lack of other people able to step up, just had a hierarchy, kind of. It had the crowd of people who started it, who've been through reclaiming, who know how to handle reclaiming. And then now, actually, surprisingly, a lot of millennials are taking the ropes and going, okay, last year they went through a training class. That was pretty hard. I know you were part of most of that. And then...
By proxy. By proxy. Sunshine was in the class. She was actually taking, essentially it was a muses class.
Right.
How to form rituals, how to form yourself into be able to do these rituals.
Right.
And I was there with Sunshine through pretty much all of it.
Right.
And she explained some things to me, and it's one of those, I don't think I would even be able to take that class, and at least not to its full capacity.
Right. No, I understand.
And I mean, I don't know. Maybe if it comes up again, I might try it, because it's something that's actually been piquing my interest recently. But I don't know. We'll see what happens after camp.
Right. So a lot of the people who went through that class are now taking the reins. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go was that one of the people who really put a lot of herself into that ritual contacted me and was like, hey, I know you had a lot of bad blood going on because of some things that happened to you in circle that wasn't necessarily people's fault, but it was just things that you need to step away from. We're fixing those by doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And I said, okay, I just had a lot of oral work done or dental work done recently. I was like, if I'm in pain, I'm not going to be able to come. I actually ended up having a pretty rough day yesterday, and I was like, I can't take the slosh or the garbage that I'm feeling into a group like that with me. So I'm just going to keep my hiatus a little longer. We'll hold it back here and come back in the new season, see how that feels. But so spring is actually a great time to take all those kind of emotions if you've been feeling very similar to me and work on them and deal with them. It's the rebirth, the new beginning. Equinoxes are of equal time of day and night. The sun is up for both the equal as long as the sun is down for the 24-hour cycle. So it's a great time to be in that in-between feeling and to kind of just deal with that stuff. That's why we talk about spring cleaning. A lot of it is because we can finally open our doors and let the natural air in.
Which is something we've been doing here recently, and it feels amazing.
I love it when I can. I almost keep my window open all winter long, which I know some people in like really cold temperatures are like, you die? Do you just freeze?
Not here in Arizona. No.
I mean, we do get down there.
We do.
We can get pretty cold. I think the lowest we've gotten is like 37 though.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually have enough blankets and enough cats to keep me warm.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned Nordic heaters. They go meow.
Yes. But I can honestly say this, for me, this ritual, this Ostara, has actually been very, it has been very transformative.
Right.
For the first time in, I'd honestly say that the past couple of months, my fear of the unknown is nowhere.
Yay!
I actually feel more comfortable in not knowing.
Are you excited for the unknown?
I am.
Yay!
I am. It's one of those, because one thing that Sunshine and I have been talking about, because one of her things is adventure. To go on, more adventure, more fun, happenings. And we kind of did that today. We actually went to a small festival. It was actually a bow festival downtown. And
which you just explained to me what is a bow, because there's probably other people like me going,
so bow is a Japanese bun. Essentially, it's wrapped up. You'll see a lot of it. It'll actually have like a nice little twist at the top. Kind of looks like a mini volcano. But it's filled with different foods, different meats, vegetables, just depending on what you want in it. So there's sweet bows, there's savory bows, but it's got this really nice, just bready, almost gummy texture to the bread.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, but yeah, literally the other day, and this was actually even before we went to Ritual, I just happened to see it on Facebook. And I'm like, I want to go to this. She was like, I do too. All right, let's go.
Yay!
So the adventure's already happening even before the work was done.
Yay! The work started before you knew it.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna take a short break. Then we'll talk about what is Ostara, or a little deity history, and then we'll talk about spring cleaning and give some witchy spring cleaning or housekeeping tips.
Yes.
So we'll be right back.
And we are back with Millennial Pagan Podcast. Sorry, I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. It's all right. But so we are talking a little bit more about Ostara, a little bit more about springtime, spring cleaning, and the magic that entails.
You got into like a trance with the spring cleaning, like
I was just doing one of those things.
Well,
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, there's a little confusion around where the name Ostara or even Easter came from.
Ishtar, right?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Everything I've learned is a lie.
Yes.
No, that's not true.
Stop reading those little pictures people post on Facebook. It's a lie. So Ishtar is not the originator of the word Easter. Ishtar is an Egyptian goddess. She is of rebirth and a lot of springtime stuff going on. She has goes into the underworld and comes back again story, just like Persephone and a lot of other goddesses that we recognize as springtime goddesses. But the word Easter comes from a Germanic word and a Germanic goddess that we have very little history on, actually. One of the original historical references about Easter as a goddess, or Istra as a goddess in Germany, comes from the Brothers Grimm.
Really?
Yes. So instead of, or not just, Yes, not just were the Brothers Grimm's horror story writers or fairy tale writers, they were actually collectors of folk history of Germany and folk stories. They were trying to preserve a lot of these stories and a lot of the storytelling aspects of German culture before they died out. And what they have written down is that there is another historical reference previously to the goddess Easter. Like, this is literally what they wrote. And that the goddess Easter to the Germanic people was a springtime goddess whose symbol was a bunny.
A bunny?
A bunny. And that was about it. Like 2 lines. That's all the Brothers Grimm wrote.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay, I love that type of history.
So, there's a lot more stories that neo-pagans or modern pagans equate to. There's a story that Easter or Ostara was walking through the forest one day and she found a dying bird. And she told the bird that she could save it, but she couldn't save it in its current form. And to save it would have to be loyal to her. And the bird agreed to be transformed, to be saved, and said, "That's fine, I'll totally hang with you for the rest of my life. I'm down with that." So she worked her little magic and he became a bunny rabbit. Amusing part, though, to this whole entire bird to bunny. Bunny lays eggs.
Still lays eggs.
Still lays eggs. So, Easter rabbit. Ha ha ha.
Oh, I get it now.
Ha ha ha. That's how we got the Easter bunny. I have no clue how true that is, but it's prolific and we say it a lot. So, and it's kind of a cute story, so why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's transformative, it's loyalty, and it's, even though, and kind of one thing that I take from it, that even though it's a transformation, there's still an aspect of the original behind.
Yes.
And a pun intended on the behind.
Wah, wah, wah.
I know. I had to get one in.
So that is why Ostara is known to have rabbits as her honored animal or honorary animal. Like Hecate has black dogs and Artemis has stags and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So that's a little bit about the Easter and why we call it Easter or Ostara instead of from Ishtar, which a lot of people get a little confused about.
Nice. History lesson.
Yes.
Love it.
So like I said earlier, one of the reasons why we equate spring and spring cleaning is because in ye olden day, when we did not have the magical heaters, we closed up the house in the wintertime because
cold.
And we opened up the house in the spring because, oh God, it's too hot in here. Somebody open a window.
Not as cold.
Yes, and then when we open the windows and let the sun shine through, all of a sudden, oh my God, it's so dirty in here.
Look at all the dust that's accumulated everywhere.
Ew. Can somebody get the pigs out of the house, please? They can go back out.
Hey, that's no way to talk about your children.
Are you sure?
Okay, maybe it is.
No, I've never called offspring a pig unless it was acting like a pig on the table. But that's one of the originators of why we do spring cleaning. It's the first time that we can really shake off our rugs, clean up the house, and get stuff going and moving in a cleaner fashion. A little bit more water, probably more cleaning supplies in the natural realm, like mint and other things. So I brought a couple of books that I purchased and I reference a lot whenever I'm spring cleaning or moving to a new home. I brought The Magical Household, Spells, Rituals for the Home by Scott Cunningham and David Harrington, and Magical Housekeeping by Tess Whitehurst.
Nice.
So I really like these books. They one of the reasons why I like Scott Cunningham's book is that it goes through the different parts of the home very slowly, and then even the different people who live in your home. So it'll start with an introduction, a note on magic. So it does give a little brief, like if you've never done magic before, by the way, this is how you do it. And then the beginning is household lore. So it'll give you a little history about the magic of the household. Then it starts with the hearth. So the hearth meaning either the fireplace or even the stove. thresholds of power, so talking about your doorways and places like that, your furnishings, stove and spoon, so kitchen, bath and brushing, the indoor garden, fur, fins, and feathers, meaning your pets, and the mystic garden, the garage, which a lot of people don't think, but is an entrance into your home.
Yeah.
Pretty big one. Protection by broom and rag, meaning cleaning. Household purification, moving. The magical year, house spells, household omens and portents, and household altar. So that one I liked a lot when I read it, but if you like Scott Cunningham, you'll probably like it. And then Tess Whitehurst's book is, I like it a lot as well. Her pets section is animal allies. She has the chapter Sacred Smokes and Aromas of Power. So like scented candles, how to make incense. She does a lot of different, like, who in the household is important as well, not just the animals. And a lot of the times we forget that when we're moving into a new home, there's already spirits and things there that you should be trying to figure out how to honor correctly.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that that I can attest to. Just not personally, but with a lot of friends that I've helped move. And for example, a long time ago, I helped a friend move into a new place, and as we were moving everything into the house, and mind you, this was before my knowledge of the magical days. I felt something, and it wasn't particularly kind entity that was liking what was going on, and to the point where things happened, not just to me on that day, but through the course of my friend living where he lived. And it was one of those, I found out afterwards that when he realized there was something there, endless provocations happened.
Ugh.
Yeah. Which, had I known, I probably would have spoken up a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, honoring the spirits and the shadows and even the emotions of the past that are left in a house are definitely very powerful.
Yeah. One thing on that note of entities, a lot of people don't think about it. When there is something in the house that you need to cleanse or get rid of, it's best to try and figure out what that thing's actual religious beliefs are and try to honor it by making it go away in that form or fashion. I know, like, a lot of us aren't going to be comfortable with doing a Catholic exorcism. That raises a lot of energy to begin with. It's very difficult, and you're really not going to get any Catholic that is of a clergy level to do it. They might come into a house blessing or a cleansing, but yeah.
It definitely won't be a full-out exorcism.
Right. So, I mean, that's going to be a difficult one to do for a lot of us. And listeners, but it's something to keep in mind that if you go in there and say, by the power of the earth, the water, and the air, and the fire, I say leave this house, they're gonna be like, who are you?
Yeah.
What hippie?
Although you know that actually, if anybody wants to steal this business practice, totally do it. But Father O'Malley's discount exorcisms. Yes.
Okay. Father O'Malley's discount exorcism.
That just came in, just popped into my head. You know, just I could see like a used car salesman type guy. Do you got poltergeists in your house? Do you have something unexplained? Do you need an exorcism? Is your daughter's head spinning round and round and round, vomiting everywhere? Well, come down to Father O'Malley's discount exorcism, where you can get everything that you need.
I'm just imagining on the bottom of the screen flashing has been excommunicated. Like that. I could just imagine that. Not ordained by the Catholic Church. Not ordained by the Catholic Church.
That'll be at the in the end when it's like describing all the terms and conditions.
Like the big small print talk. Like
not ordained by the Catholic Church.
Okay. Anyway.
It's just, those little gems just pop into my head every once in a while. I just have to get them out.
No, that was quite hilarious. Sometimes those little gems catch me off guard, and I'm like, where'd you get that crap? Stop fishing in the endless sea of the world's conscious.
It happens. It's the Gemini in me. It's the creative imagination. Which, I mean, I just got back from Disneyland, so my imagination battery has been ramped up a little bit.
Whatcha? Anyway. So that's a big thing to think about is like, what is in your house? How do you honor it within its own right by not disrespecting yours? Mm-hmm. So that's one thing. When I move, I don't know about you, but I get the keys, I go in, and I scrub the place head to toe with physical cleaners because I'm kind of a clean freak or a germ freak to begin with. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't want your yuck in my new house. I want my yuck. And I know they clean the apartments or homes before you move in, but they don't clean like Mama taught me. Mm-hmm. And so I scrub head to toe, and then I smudge. And after I smudge, I kind of just try to feel obviously while I'm cleaning, I'm feeling how the energy in the house moves and what's going on. But after I smudge, that's when I really get to know the house without the last residents in it. Mm-hmm. And then is when all the rest of the stuff comes in. And after that chaos, I usually have to smudge again, but it's not like a deep cleaning like sage all over the whole house with the bell and ding. Smudging, ding, smudging, long times, ding.
You missed a spot.
Smudge.
There you go.
Pretty much. So, but I know a lot of people don't get that benefit where they can take that day and do that. And it's kind of one of my rules. Another thing that it's kind of tradition actually is to have the first thing through the threshold of your new home be a broom, a bottle of wine, and bread.
I've actually never heard of that before.
So a lot of us know in paganism that brooms are also protectors of open doors. Mm-hmm. Some of us will keep a broom above our door as a guardian. We'll keep a broom at the opening of a circle, or if you have to personally leave your circle of one, you'll put the broom in there to guard it. So the broom goes in as your guard. The next is the wine, so you may never thirst, and the bread, so you may never hunger. Those things being the first things to go through the door of the house are just symbols and just old tradition.
It's actually pretty nice. I like that.
The last time I moved into a house, the first thing that went over the threshold was toilet paper because my realtor was late.
Oh.
And it was early in the morning, and I had my coffee, and I was like, I need you to show up now. I will say one thing. We never ran out of toilet paper in that house. So
that's actually kind of funny.
There might be some truth to that saying.
Well, no, and I can actually see it because actually in my history with my mom, one thing, and this is kind of her Hispanic heritage, where she came from, and kind of Hispanic mysticism is putting a broom behind the door for to ward off unwanted guests. Mm-hmm. So I mean that's kind of interesting that's. I never really correlated the two as a broom being a protector.
Yeah, it so is a guard.
Yeah. Which is actually kind of funny because today we went to Fantasia, right? Which hello to our friends at Fantasia.
Hello, guys.
We actually bought a pinnacle with the sticks they're made out of brooms. Mm-hmm. So I was like, we need to put that over our door. Just thinking right off the bat.
I totally thought you knew that when you told me. I was like, oh yeah, that's a great protector. And then
I knew about like the warding off unwanted guests, but I never really thought of it actually being a protector of the house.
Well, my house, the besom that my roommates jumped over at their wedding is above the door to do the same thing. So
that's actually pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah. And in my apartments back in Georgia, cinnamon brooms at the fall were always in the grocery stores, so I'd always hang a cinnamon broom on the back of the door.
Oh, nice.
So, like, the first thing people smelled when they walked through the threshold was the cinnamon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's actually pretty cool. I like that.
Thank you.
I like learning new things.
Yay! I'm glad you learned something new today.
Yeah.
Huzzah to me. So what's some kind of spring cleaning magical stuff you do? I know you just bought a neat, nifty tool recently that you've been having a lot of fun with.
What, the Swiffer? Oh, well, yeah, there's also the
Swiffer.
the Swiffer. No. So we when we actually went down to Tucson,
Mm-hmm.
I actually picked up a bottle of sage smudge spray.
Wait, that comes in spray?
Yeah. It's right behind you, actually. It's over there by the lamp.
Ah!
Yeah, so it's just a nice little just water, a little bit of essential oils, and you just spray it around the house just like you would smudge
Or Febreze.
or Febreze.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's a nice little for the witch on the go.
Right. I wonder, because I know a lot of people do have an allergy to smudge smoke or are sensitive to smoke in general. I wonder if that would minimize that problem.
I kind of feel like it would, because it's not an overbearing. It doesn't really. Granted, it doesn't fill the room as smoke would, but the essence of it, the smell of it, could
permeate.
permeate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Blessed be the pagan who's allergic to sage smudge.
Yes.
We're so sorry. Life must be difficult.
No, that's like having an allergy to coffee.
Right. Talok's actually nodding like desert sage man.
Oh.
Yep. So.
But yeah, that's a nice thing. It's also, for some things, it's a great cleaning tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything else that you do that's like hearth or home magic?
I mean, we actually invite fairies to the house to.
Oh yeah, you don't have wee ones.
Yes, we don't have wee ones. But we do have some fairy inviting things out on our porch. We also have a couple of gnome guardians out on the front door.
Oh, I know, yeah. I see them. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're also guarding our fairy door that's at the front door as well.
Yes, I've seen that as well.
But honestly, one of the biggest magic things that I think that we do, which is kind of a luxury here in Arizona, is opening up the back sliding the big glass door.
Yeah, and letting the air through, because nothing cleanses better than a real gentle breeze.
Yeah, and it's nice because we actually have some things growing outside right now that is just going to add to not just the visual, but I can already tell the energy and the just the smell of it too. It's gonna be awesome.
I love opening windows and having natural breezes. Another thing that I usually do is an old Irish tradition is to always have the hearth going, or the stove would always be lit. And when the stove was off, a modern take I would have is have a candle on my stove, so that way I could light that. Obviously, it wasn't lit after we went to bed, but I always had a candle on my stove unless I was actively cooking and needed the room.
That's actually a really great modern thing for electric stoves. Not having that on have a candle over it. Right. So.
Yep, that's what I normally did. I had my favorite one was a Bath and Body Works one that smelled like wine.
Nice.
It was just a nice kitchen scent, and it wasn't like, oh, this is food, I'm suddenly hungry. But it didn't like contrast to food smells. So it was very nice. That was one of my favorite things to do, is have that candle going or the windows open and such. Salt lamps.
Yep.
Yeah.
Salt lamps
are great. There's a lot of, I guess, science and pseudoscience that says that they clear energy and promote positive vibes and such things like that.
Natural ionization.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Crystals everywhere. A lot of houseplants are not only good air cleansers, they're also great. You can use them for humidifiers, dehumidifying plants, cleansing emotionally or physically. You need to watch, if you have pets, what plants you bring into your home, though.
Yes. Actually, I do have a friend who didn't do their research,
Mm-hmm.
and their doggo got really sick with a couple of plants that they brought
Oh,
in.
no.
But when they found out what was going on, they made sure that the doggo was not able to get to it anymore.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
My grandmother loved poinsettias.
Yes.
She loved to put poinsettias on the fireplace, on the either side of the fireplace where my dog could get at them,
Mm-hmm.
and then not clean up when they would fall.
Yeah.
That was always a rough thing in high school. Was coming home and going, "These can kill him. Are you trying to kill my dog?" But yeah.
One thing I did for the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that
Now,
can't see,
both of us are looking
I
around
know, we're
like,
looking
what
around.
do you do?
Actually, what I did is before either one of us actually, Sunshine and I kind of dictated what we were going to do with the room. Is
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just had a couple of moments, and actually I came into the room and I actually asked the room for what it wanted,
Oh.
and it actually said that it wanted happiness, it wanted health, it wanted home.
Ah.
So it's kind of one of those just honoring and keeping this room active, keeping this room
Right.
alive. And one thing that we've kind of been doing recently, and it's not really a forgetful thing,
Mm-hmm.
we've actually been leaving lights on in this room, just the lamps that are in here.
Yeah, for a soft glow.
For a soft glow, just not letting the room feel alone.
Ah.
So I think that's kind of it's kind of one of those things where I didn't originally plan it like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I've noticed when the lights are left on, the room feels better.
Ah.
It feels happier,
Oh, nice.
which is actually kind of a contrast from when I actually was unceremoniously kicked out of the home that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, after my dad passed, we weren't able to take care of the mortgage ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
so we were forced to leave.
Uh-huh.
And it actually felt like it was the house I grew up in. It's the house I spent almost 20 years in at this point. And it felt like it was crying.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
have you ever watched it? And for anybody who's ever watched this, Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
Well.
Okay, so it's this toy maker. He has this toy shop, candy shop that is just alive, literally alive. And when he starts becoming ill and towards the end of his life, the toy shop just kind of starts rotting away.
Oh.
So it was kind of the same feel.
Ah, gotcha. So
Yeah.
and houses do have their own energy, their own spirits
Mhm.
and stuff like that. So I definitely could understand that.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked past a house that just gave you the creeps and then
Oh.
you find out later it has a history?
Yes. Actually, 2 houses down from my childhood home.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a house that was next to us, which actually sat vacant for like 3 years. That I actually physically remember. But the house next to them, every time I walked to school, every time we went down the street, it just felt like the old house on the top of the hill, just looking
Right.
over storm clouds and just rotted away plants and bushes.
Oh.
And I mean, it didn't look like that.
Right, but it felt
like
that.
it.
Yeah, I had a house in my neighborhood. My neighborhood was new builds, and every time I walked past that house, I just felt like it was a little bit farther back in the lot than at the other houses, and I felt like it was just so distant from the rest of the community. And we weren't like, oh my gosh, I know every neighbor in the street kind of place, but it just felt very disconnected. And then we found out a few years later that the husband in that home was beating his wife. And we were like, oh, he was putting those barriers up. There wasn't a real fence, but he was putting a fence up around that house and causing that way. So, I mean, if you're sensitive to that, you feel it instantly.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a little enough about house talk. If you have any comments, questions, concerns about stuff like that, we'll definitely bring it back up again. I know we talked about Jera just moved, and
Yeah, we're actually planning a house blessing party.
Oh,
So
that's a good idea too.
Yeah, which is something that we kind of talked about even before moving in here. Is just having a couple of our friends come by and actually bless the living space.
Oh wow!
So it's we're still in the planning. I mean, we've been here for 2 months now. We're finally about, I'd say, 95% settled in.
Right.
So once we get to that space, that place, we're gonna go ahead and open our doors and say, hey, come on over. Let's have a little bit of a house blessing.
Yay!
And then a house party afterwards.
Ah, fun!
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, that's good to
Yeah.
keep in mind as an option for other people when you're just moving in and get settled. So, well, we have a little bit of pagan news that's on the sad side. In the community, we've lost 2 elders, teachers, and friends. Raven Grumassi and Aidan McCoy. Both published authors, I believe both from Llewellyn. It's just they both went into the Summerlands right at around spring equinox time.
Great. It's also a good time to do it too.
Yeah,
because it's definitely a good their good final journey.
Yep. Yeah. But here at Millennial Pagan Podcast, we're aware of when our previous our teachers have passed. That gives an opening and availability for us to take what they've taught us and move forward with it into the next generation. They've left spaces that cannot be completely filled, but there is availability for people to continue on and become teachers.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as a millennial, that we are the next group to come up.
And actually, this kind of goes along with this too. I actually have a big influence on my life. I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but actually, I found out today that she had passed as well. An old friend from the church that I grew up in. She was essentially the grandmother of every kid that was in that church, and I'm talking both physically and in a spiritual sense. It was a very small church at its beginning, and she was the person who, if you came over to her house, you were family instantly. And I know that the old Christian side of me believes that she is, and even now, I believe that she's in the heaven that she created, and she's with her family, which is awesome. So just kind of a personal one on that one as well.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So on a lighter note, what's going on next in our community? Well, I mean, we just missed that big moon. We had that big equinox. So new moon's not for another 2 weeks. Nothing much else going on.
No, not too much.
No. So
I know that there's actually coming up in April. I do know that out here in Phoenix we are doing our Pagan Pride Parade. Out here in Phoenix, coming up in April, we're actually doing our there's the Gay Pride Parade.
Fun.
And through my job, I'm actually going to be participating in the parade.
Yay!
So if you guys are out there, part of the community, part of our lovelies, definitely come out, say hi. I don't know how late I'll stay, but it'll be some fun, and go out there and support my friends, my family, and my coven, my group. So
yay! That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a big parade.
Oh yeah. That's right. You're kind of new out here.
Stillish new, yeah. Stillish new. So, well, Pagan Book Talk Phoenix Valley will be at Extreme Bean in Tempe if you wanted to join us on the first Sunday of April at 4:30. So
great coffee.
Yes, and muffins.
Muffins and food.
And tea. You know what? Our first meeting at Extreme Bean was last month, and almost everyone's like, they have a big tea selection. And I'm like, witches. Witches be teaing.
Yeah.
From all of us here at Millennial Pagan Podcast,
Merry meet.
merry part, and merry meet again.